So as we move ahead, let's answer some more questions, shall we? Our experts, you guys have more questions, don't you?
Oh yeah, we're
Yeah, you do. Okay, let's come over here. Let's see. How about Mike? Why don't we start with you? You got one down there for us?
Sure, yeah. We had a question from Mika on how did the oil get down there in the first place?
Okay.
And millions of years ago, this was a big interior seaway, and the organic matter in the ocean dropped to the bottom and became, over time, the oil that we're extracting today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Kristen, how about you?
We have one question about how many types of animals are in the Pawnee National Grasslands. There are, as we talked about, there are many different kinds of birds. We have over 20 different species of birds that need the grasslands to survive. We also have ferruginous hawks, we have badgers, coyotes, lots of different animals that are out here, so you should come and visit them.
Wow, that's a lot that I've never even had any idea they were out here. Angela, I know you have some good questions for us.
Sure. Kylie from Bear Creek Elementary in Boulder asks, why do grasslands still exist when they burn up, so after a wildfire? Well, basically they still exist because their roots don't die. So they're able to basically regrow within just a few months of a fire. And it actually gets rid of a lot of the dead older grass, and it sort of freshens up the system, and it's healthier after a fire.
I thought that was interesting what Rick said about how the fire could actually be good for the grasslands, right?
Certainly.
So even though for most of us we don't want to see fire, sometimes it's a good thing.
Definitely can be.
Brings things back. Mike, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, and there's a question on, does the oil in the ground hurt the animals in the Pawnee Buttes?
That's a good one.
That's right, and the oil is several thousand feet or up to a mile below the surface. And so when companies drill for oil, they utilize the best practices and a lot of technology to make sure that it doesn't impact the local wildlife or the grasslands out here.
Okay. I know we have a lot of kids online in other areas, so we're going to keep going with some of the questions that are coming in so we can include as many people as we can in the program here. So Kristen, why don't we hit them with another question here?
Another question from Charlotte in Boulder is, are there snakes? And yes, there are snakes on the grassland. We have bull snakes and rattlesnakes. So you need to watch your step when you're out there, but yeah, they're out there eating other animals and keeping the ecosystem healthy.
Have we seen any out here today?
No.
No.
Nope.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Angela, how about you? Let's throw another question up on there.
Sure, I've got one about what are some of the most dangerous animals on grassland. So from my perspective, I guess it depends on what you are. If you're a mouse, then a burrowing owl would probably be pretty dangerous to you. And if you're an antelope, then a lion or something a little bit with some teeth would be a little bit more dangerous. Out here, in terms of people, I think you're pretty safe. Again, as long as you just let snakes be.
The rattlesnake out here is probably the bad guy. For us anyway, right?
Good for the system though.
Mike, how about you?
Yeah, we had a question on how are these buttes that you see behind us formed? And that was caused by erosion over millions of years as wind and water carved away the rock and left behind these beautiful buttes that we see behind us.
Good one, good one. Kristen, let's hit them with another one. We're just going to go through and see as many as we can here.
Okay.
Before we're almost out of time, but we want to get as many questions answered as we can because we got everybody online here.
Okay. So James asked, why are grasslands important? Well, they provide a unique habitat for grassland birds and species. Many of these species don't live anywhere else. And they provide stopover points for birds. And they're also a source of oil for us to use. They provide places for bird watching and camping. And they provide carbon and water.
All right. Angela, how about you?
Sure, I've got one about, are grasslands a place where people could live? Well, certainly they did, and they still do. And it's actually quite beneficial because we've talked about how ranching families and communities help keep the nutrients going and cycling through, and are actually really good for the grasslands.
And the Pawnees is a real important part of Colorado that a lot of people don't know about. You could camp up here, you could hike up here and do all that type of thing, right?
Yeah, definitely a hidden treasure.
It's a hidden treasure, and if you're one of those that likes to hike alone with not big crowds around and that type of thing, this is a good place to come, right?
That's right.
Right. Okay, Mike, do you have another one for us?
Yeah, we had a question about, what can we do to help protect the grasslands? And programs like this are a great way to do it, learn more about the grasslands and educate it, and just spread the word on what kind of ecosystem this is and how important it is.
And you're with Whiting Petroleum, and Whiting Petroleum kind of works in tandem with Forest Service and everything out here. Can you speak to that a little bit?
That's right, yes. We work very closely with the Forest Service and wildlife biologists like the Bird Conservancy to really have multiple use out here and be responsible operators in this area.
Excellent. Kristen, what do you think? You got another one?
Let's see. I had one. I get a lot of questions about how many endangered species are on the grassland. And it depends on what grassland you're at and what list you're looking at, whether it's a state list or a federal list. But I would say the most well-known endangered animal on grasslands, it's no longer on the Pawnee, but is the black-footed ferret, which lives in prairie dog towns.
Okay. Angela, how about you?
Sure. Paul from Aurora, Colorado asks, well, how's the weather over there? And
I could probably do that one.
It's a great question, just because being prepared is very important when you come out here. But I responded with, it's nice and warm today, but really it's very unpredictable. It can be very cold, very hot all in the same day, likely with the potential of a hailstorm moving through. It could snow tomorrow. Actually, I think it is going to snow on Friday.
It is. Thursday night into Friday.
So being very prepared, it really can be unpredictable, which was a detriment to early settlers, I think.
We were a little worried last night. We were watching thunderstorms roaming all around here. We got some great winds here, and then last night it rained out here. So we had a plan earlier. I'm glad the sun came out and shined today, because our plan was to go under this little teeny tiny picnic awning that's over there. So we really lucked out with our plan today. But yeah, especially this time of year, you could get severe thunderstorms coming through here. Occasionally tornadoes can pop up and that type of thing. So you just got to be prepared for the weather. And you don't have any trees to protect you from wind or anything like that as well. I think we have time for one more question. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, sure. And we had one that ties into that of what's the main water source out here.
Oh.
And that's, the snow melt from the winter snowpack out here, and then the seasonal spring rains. And then during most of summer, this is a really dry area. So a lot of seasonal moisture early on in the year, and then not much later on in the year.
And there's some fishing out in the grasslands in certain areas too, right? Isn't there?
There's a few reservoirs and lakes out here.
Okay.
Not very much. This is a pretty dry area, but
so fishermen are welcome. Campers
absolutely
are welcome. That type of thing, even if you're hiking. Well, thank you all. We're almost out of time here, so we want to wrap up. Thank you for all those great questions. They were just incredible.